My first time at Citizens Bank for a playoff game, and boy, what an atmosphere it was. One of the all-time classic NLDS games in just the second meeting between the Mets and Phillies. The Mets took game one, beating out the bullpen after Zach Wheeler dominated. They did the job. They got one in Philly. They were oh so close to getting two. I'll react to the game two loss, look ahead at game three at Citi Field, and my experience with the Phillies fans in a rowdy bank on Sunday. It's coming up next on a live episode of the Sick Podcast, Mets Magic.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Mets Magic with Jake Brown.
And it's in there, strike three called. The Mets win the pennant. The New York Mets have won the National League pennant. Put it in the books. The New York Mets, for the first time in 15 years, are champions of the National League.
The sickest New York Mets podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Welcome back. It's the Sick Podcast, Mets Magic. Smash that thumbs up right now if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe, like, wherever you get podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating, write a nice review. As we're back. I was on my YouTube live after I got back last night. Clearly, I sound exhausted, and I am. And now we make the trip to New York. Armand's in the chat. Morning, Jake. I just bought my ticket for game 3 tomorrow. Get in early. If you're trying to go, I suggest waiting it out. If you're worried about price, and I get it, they're expensive. You know, I got them immediately following the Brewer game, or it was the ninth inning. I forgot the moment I got them, but within minutes of the game ending, I just went to the Mets site and got the cheapest one. So they've skyrocketed, and I think they'll go back down a bit because it is a 5 o'clock game, but boy, does that game have some juice to it now. A series tied at 1, and it was going to have a lot more juice if the Mets were up 2-0, but now there will be 2 at Citi. And boy, the Mets do not want this thing going back to Philly. You wanted a split in Philly, but now you want to close it at home, because if this goes back to the bank with a potential Zach Wheeler game 5, you are in trouble. You don't want that. Now, this team continues to have their back against the wall and do things we never expect and come back and rally as they did, again on Sunday after blowing the lead. But you don't want to go to that hostile environment for a do-or-die game 5. So get loud, Met fans. Get rowdy. Get excited. Because these are monster games. Got a great deal last minute. It was basically row 6, but we were like right off the field, first row in right field. So had great seats, had a good time. And, I was next to a Met fan who follows me on Twitter. It was very rare because there were not a ton of Met fans there. And if they were hidden. They were not wearing Met gear. I was kind of hidden. I had a gray Mets hat, the City Connect hat, and an Amazing But True shirt, blue shirt on. So people see the shirt, they just see podcast. They don't realize they're not that smart there. So they don't put 2 and 2 together. Amazing with the parentheses is a Met show. So that was kind of me being in disguise, was the podcast shirt, not a physical Met shirt. But I did wear the hat, but I didn't do the blue hat, I did the gray hat. So semi-disguise, and had a blast. Great game. Unfortunate ending. Let's break it down right now here on the Mets Magic Podcast. Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio at SickPod Mets. Thank you for watching live. We'll read your comments, your questions, your concerns. Prices would have went up if the Mets went up. Were up 2. I agree. Prices would have went up. I feel like Wheeler will start game 4 and they go Sanchez and Suarez combo. I think Wheeler starts game 4 if they are down 2-1. If they are up 2-1, they save Wheeler for a potential game 5, and then their hope is that maybe they won't have to use him and they have him for game 1 of the NLCS. So game 3 will determine the strategy for both teams, because we have no idea what the Mets are doing for game 4. We expect Quintana, but do they go Peterson like they have? Do they go Senga? Do they save Senga for game 5? Are they worried about Senga going game 5 again in that atmosphere in Philly if it happens? So a lot will depend on what happens on Tuesday. But on Sunday, a back-and-forth affair. The Mets take a 2-0 lead. Mark Vientos, home run. Vientos continues coming up big for this team. And it really got quiet at the bank when Pete Alonso. Now, you wanted him to carry over that homer in Milwaukee. You didn't want that to be his moment and then it's over. He carries one over the right field fence. I was sitting there right in front of me. That ball carried. Was not sure. And same with Vientos, both going over the right field wall. But that bandbox of a ballpark, they get over. And it's 3-0 Mets in the 6th. And you're going to the bottom of the 6th like, Sevy, just get us through this 6 and we could win this thing. Unfortunately, he didn't. He's cruising. He gets the first 2 guys out. Turner hits a base hit. And then Bryce hits a 430-foot bomb. Bryce Harper crushed it. And you can argue, hey, should the Mets have pitched to Bryce Harper in that situation? But you don't want to put 2 guys on. I get that logic. But then Castellanos is a good player. And you saw that later in the game. That you can't just walk in and face Castellanos because Castellanos homered after Bryce did anyway. And then Sevy finished off the inning. But, man, Sevy went from shutout to 6 inning, 3 runs. He did the same when I was there. Something with me being there and Luis Severino pitching and having the same exact stat line. 6 innings, 3 runs. Did it on that Saturday when they were beat by the likes of Cal Stevenson and Buddy Kennedy. This time they were beaten by the likes of Bryce Harper and Nick Castellanos. What'd you expect? It's a potent lineup. It's a lineup that Alec Bohm has struggled so much that he didn't even play in the game. We were talking about Alec Bohm was an all-star, and now he's coming off the bench in a playoff game. How about that? What a world. The world's turned. But the game's tied. I mean, you feel the place was shaking Bryce, and then Castellanos homered. I was worried I was going to get something thrown at me. I was trying not to turn around. I was like, you got to be kidding me. We had it. The words of Club from Nutty Professor. We had it in our hands. It was either Clump or it was the donkey in Shrek. I forget which one. Let me know in the chat. Brandon Nimmo comes back and hits one for Grandma. Rest in peace to his grandmother. He homers in the 7th, and the Mets have the lead. They did it again. Bottom of the 8th comes around. After they get in trouble in the 7th, they use Diaz in the 7th for an out. And listen, I don't love it. I know he got Schwarber out. Top of the order. I understand it. I didn't understand why Stanek was not available or not used. You were off Friday. You're off Monday. He pitched Saturday. But why is Stanek unavailable? It should be all hands on deck. This is the playoffs. So that's probably where I would have used Stanek for that final out or try to. And if he gets it, put him out there for the 8th, then get Diaz going. They use Diaz early. He gets the out in 7th, but he implodes in the 8th. And Edwin Diaz on the road for the Mets has been, in big games, not the greatest. I know what he did in Milwaukee. Great job. He deserves credit for those 5 outs. But if you're a Met fan, you don't trust Edwin Diaz in big spots. That's a problem for a $100 million closing, 5-year, $100 million deal. If you can't trust him in a big spot, you just got to be able to trust him, and you cannot. Strikes out Turner. Harper walk. That was, once Harper walked, I'm like, and here it goes. Almost pitched around him. Man, if he could have got Harper, thought it could have been a different result in this game. Castellanos singles. I mean, Nick Castellanos killed the Mets on Sunday with the homer, 2 hits, 2 singles. And then Bryson Stott, the place freaking erupted, man, right in front of me. You'll probably see on the replay me in the blue shirt in the front there. I haven't watched the full replay. I watched some of it. I saw early on the Vientos hit. You see me pointing or something. But you probably see me on that one. Bryson Stott, 2-run triple. And that place was buzzing. It's 5-4. Then the fielder's choice, really an error. Mark Vientos, Stott scores. They put McGill in before that at bat, and then strikes out Marsh. Boom pops out, and it's 6-4. And you were like, we had it. Of course, the comeback kids did it again. Francisco Lindor singles in the 9th, and then Mark Vientos hits his 2nd homer of the game. And the place was in utter shock silence. They were thinking they did it again. To the point where everyone looked at me because when that happened, Mark Vientos homered, I yelled out, and the comeback kids did it again. Oh, my God. I said something to that effect. God, my voice really is shot. I think that's what shot my voice, was yelling that in the 9th inning. That's when I feared I might get punched or have a beer can thrown at me. Nothing was thrown in my direction. I left unscathed. And that was the moment I was like, I might have pissed them off. Now, I wasn't being an obnoxious fan at all. I'm not that kind of fan in road parks, but I said that pretty loud where everyone heard me. I got to say, the transition at Citizens Bank Park from euphoria when they have a great moment, it's loud, to utter silence is something I've never seen before anywhere. The volume is through the wazoo when they hit the back-to-back, with the Stott hit, to the point it's shaking. People are standing. It's pretty cool. I mean, if it wasn't against the Mets, it was someone else, I would think it was cool. It wasn't cool for me. But the transition from that to the Vientos homer when it was you could hear a pin drop is unreal. The 180 to 0 is unbelievable. And when it was silent, that was my favorite. Oh, man. I had to be careful because anything I even said you could hear from across the field. That's how quiet it got. Vientos does it again. Alonso gets robbed of a base hit. I thought if that dropped, I thought the Mets might have had some more magic in them, but good catch. And, Cassiano killed him the whole game, and he really killed him in the 9th inning. So McGill comes back out for the 9th. Again, don't like it. Wanted Stanek. That's my one complaint in this game from Carlos Mendoza. Otherwise, I thought the rest of the game management was fine. Strikeout, pop out, and listen, they're right there. The other thing I hate about the Phillies fans, they boo injuries. Brandon Nimmo, Mark Vientos collide in that pop-up. I think Vientos ended up catching it. Yeah, Mark Vientos caught it. He probably should not have been that far. That was Nimmo's ball. I mean, you can't have these mistakes happen. We've seen collisions like this before, like Beltran and Mike Cameron in San Diego, so it always scares me seeing those. But you got to let him catch it. But Vientos carried the Mets in this game, so I can't get mad at him for anything. Nimmo stays in the game. Luckily, Trey Turner walks, Bryce Harper walks, and the walks will always come back and bite you. Turner was the big one. You can't walk Turner because Harper, you knew they would pitch around. It was actually good at bat. McGill fooled him a few times, a few fouls, and then he walked him. And once he had two guys on, you knew the Mets were doomed there. You had to get Turner. You couldn't put Turner on. That was the big one for me. Harper, I figured they would pitch around. But Turner after the 2 outs, you're right there. You're right there, close to extra inning. McGill gives up one hit. And they lose. Crazy, right? One hit, not even a homer, and they lose. But walks came back and bit them. We've seen the Mets bullpen be plagued by walks in the past. Look at that Oakland A's game, the Hawk Tua game. It's killed him before, and it killed him on Sunday. Castellanos base hit, and he was down 0-2. I mean, even that at bat. It was 0-2. He threw him junk 1-2, and then the base hit. I mean, he fooled him the first few pitches. Just could not get that put away pitch on both Harper and Castellanos, and the Mets lose 7-6. But boy, what a game. And you're happy to escape with one. And I think we believe in this Mets team enough where we're not panicking because you lost one in Philly. It would have been unbelievable if you were going for a sweep on Tuesday and then get a second chance on Wednesday. No one saw that coming. But it just was not realistic. But that's one of the all-time great playoff games. 3-0, 3-3, 4-3, 6-4, 6-6, 7-6 on a walk-off. Fireworks in the bank. I got out of there in a hurry. My buddy Zach, we went with he's actually a Yankee fan, but he drove us in and drove us back, and we kind of got out of there. Traffic was crazy, but we were not going. No Xfinity after. I was not trying to be around them. I actually feared more if the Mets were to win, I probably would have got stuff thrown at me. I think I did a good job with the outfit choice because it was even a Philly fan, one of the guys there, complimented the hat. He's like, that's kind of a cool hat. So I wore the cool hat. I had the ice on, of course. You got the chain and the podcast shirt so people didn't know. So I think that was smart. I repped the Mets, but I didn't go too crazy with the orange and blue. I think if I wore the OMG shirt, people would have been pissed because a Philly fan tweeted, "I want to bomb the OMG sign." Like people hate OMG there. I mean, they hate it, everything Mets. There are a lot of F the Mets chants, but they're a vile fan base. I think booing when someone on the opposing team gets hurt. Like, can you just shut up? Like, be quiet. How about you shut your mouth? Shut your mouth. Name that movie, Step Brothers. And they boo. Guy gets hurt, boo. I mean, have some class. I mean, I don't expect much class from the Philly fan base. They have a lot of classless fans there, but have a little class. If a guy gets hurt, what are you booing? What delay? You got nothing going on. You go to Xfinity Live to drink after the game. You go to milk a cow in Amish paradise. Come on, stop. But now we go back to Citi Field. And the Mets fans have been waiting for an NLDS game for 9 long years. I was there. I was at every one of them. 2015, Mets Dodgers. Oh man, the euphoria! I remember it like it's yesterday when Cespedes hits the homer to left, and that place just buzzing. 2015 NLDS was pretty magical because you were so mad at the freaking Dodgers and Chase Utley. It was war. It was war. Breaking Ruben Tada's leg in LA. You said, finish them. And coming back home, that was awesome at Citi Field. And we want a clincher, man. We want a clincher in Queens. A Queens clincher. A QC. Quarter pounder with cheese. A Queens clincher. A city clincher. CC. You got to really take out your CC credit card to go to these games. Prices have skyrocketed. But that just shows you the fans are pumped up, and people want to make a buck too, but they're around 44 plus at the bank. They'll be around 44 plus at City. City holds around 42.5 plus standing room. It's going to be right around 45,000 capacity crowd. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that home field atmosphere has to be there. You saw it the final 2 games of the year against the Phillies, how loud it was, how rowdy it was. Mets won both those final 2 games. Great games against the Phillies, but this is in the regular season. And Nola's a really good pitcher. He's a good postseason pitcher. And it's not going to be easy. It worked out for Rob Thompson, going with the lefty in game 2 and switching to Nola in the tough environment for game 3. I think when the Mets went up 3-0, I'm like, he's going to regret this. But he didn't. Aaron Nola in his postseason career has started 9 games. He has a 3.7 ERA in those 9 games. 48 innings pitched, 20 earned runs in those 48 2/3 innings, 50 strikeouts. His record's 5-3. He was 1-1 in the NLCS last year. He was 1-0 in the NLDS. He won the wild card game last year. He was very bad in the World Series in 2022 in 2 games. He was very bad in the 2022 NLCS. So, hey, 2 years ago, he wasn't very good. Last year, he was okay. Not great. So, his stats don't tell you a lot. He's a mixed bag, Aaron Nola. But we know he's had a good career. He gets paid handsomely. And he's their number 2 starter. 14-8 this year, 3.57 ERA, 33 starts. He didn't miss any time. You know, he's a former All-Star, in the Cy Young conversation a couple of times. He's had a solid career. It's not going to be easy. And Sean Manaea is having the year of his life for the Mets. Is he due to falter? I say Sean Manaea shoves tomorrow. I say Sean Manaea has his Mets legacy outing tomorrow at Citi Field. 7-inning shutout. Sean Manaea. Now, the day off is big because you get everyone refreshed. Everyone is available. It's all hands on deck now. There's nobody unavailable now. It's 1-1. And you want to win this in Queens. I was at the game in the Coke corner against the Dodgers. Pepsi pours that they need to work Nolan's pitch count. Yeah, I agree, Armand. I think they got to get to the bullpen early. They got to work walks. They got to have similar to that 8th inning in game 1 where they came back after Wheeler shoved for 7 innings. They got to have similar work counts, base hits, get Nolan out of this game because this is a bullpen that's had to do a lot of work so far in this series. 8th inning, 9th inning, the implosions. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. On Sunday, 5:08 p.m. The 5:08 stuff because a lot of people are probably going to be late because they're getting out of work. But I hope every seat by like 5:30, and that place is absolutely rocking. We'll see where in the stadium I end up. I have a nosebleed 500s for both, but I gotta find a way out of there. The fans have got to get them going. Like, this is big. These are big ones. And then Wednesday, we'll see. It's TBD. We'll do a show after Wednesday going into either Game 5 or hopefully celebrating a Mets clincher. And I don't even want to mention what the other result would be because they have to win at least one at Citi Field. This story ain't done yet. And if they can either clinch or go to a Game 5, OMG Remix drops on Friday. And if they don't win both at Citi and they only win one, how cool of a story would that be? OMG Remix, Friday, Mets win, go to the NLCS, and the remix is blasting around the world with Mr. Worldwide on the remix. The script is written. But I don't want that. I want a win, and I want another win on Wednesday. Another one. We want a clincher. Listen, we've been waiting so long to see a Mets clincher at Citi Field. Let's go back in Mets history. 2015, correct me if I'm wrong. The division C, I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going off the top of my head. First off, 2022, heartbreaking. Bassett, awful start. The game felt over in the first inning. Same as Friday. 2 out of 3 games, complete dud. Saturday was great, but awful series loss to the Padres. The Joe Musgrove ear game 3. Just brutal. Nightmares. 2016, one game. Syndergaard pitched great, but the Mets don't score. Boom. Season over. We've seen eliminations in the last 2 playoffs. That can't happen with the OMG Mets. And in 2015, the NLDS, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they clinched in Game 5 in LA. I believe that's the case. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they did not clinch. I don't remember that. They did not clinch at Citi Field. I would remember that celebration. I believe they clinched on the road. The NLCS, they clinched in Chicago. Remember, they won the first 2 at Citi, then won in Chicago 2, and we didn't get a clinch there. And then the World Series, we were left watching. I was the last one at the ballpark. They made me leave. Game 5 World Series, Lucas Duda, the throw home, boom. Mets lose. Royals win the World Series. That's 2022, a Mets losing clincher for the other team at Citi Field. That's 2016, a Mets losing clincher to the other team at Citi Field. That's 2015 World Series, other team winning the World Series at Citi Field. 2000, first year as a fan. Excuse me, 2006, skipped over a year. Aaron Hallman, Shea Stadium, Endy Chavez catch. Adam Wainwright now on the call for these stupid games. Curveball. Yadier Molina. We know the whole story. Cardinals go to the World Series on the Mets field at Shea Stadium. 2000, Yankees win the World Series at Shea Stadium. Mike Piazza fly ball to Bernie Williams. That's 5. The last 5 playoff appearances at Citi Field or Shea Stadium, the Mets have watched the other team finish their season. It ain't happening in 2024. It can happen in 2024. The OMG Grimace Mets will not go down in front of this home fan base after what they have given us this season. They cannot do it. They will not do it. Whether they finish it here or they go to Philly, their season ain't ending on our home turf. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. For once, can this series end on our turf with a Mets celebration? Can the Mets beat the other team and send them packing on our field? You got 2 games. Win Tuesday, win Wednesday. NLCS. To either go to San Diego, where series is tied at 1 with the Dodgers, or go to LA. Finish them at Citi Field. And avoid any chance of going back to Citizens Bank Park. This team's due. This franchise is due for a celebration because they never get the chance to do it. Even the playoff clincher in Atlanta, the wild card clincher in Milwaukee. They always, when they win and they clinch something, it's on the road. And this fan base is long overdue for a playoff celebration. We're starving for one. Can we finally get it with the OMG Mets magic? I think so. I believe so. And I know so. Let's go, Mets. This is the Mets Magic Podcast at SickPodMets. Smash that thumbs up, that like button below on YouTube if you're watching. If you're subscribed, you're an audio listener, give us a 5-star rating, write a nice review, subscribe, share with all your Mets friends. Let them know to come to the Sick Podcast, Mets Magic. We have a good time here. I had a good time in Philly and looking forward to having a good time in Queens tomorrow and Wednesday. Per Tacoma, Mets will hold an optional workout at Citi Field today, and it truly is optional for the guys who need treatment or the guys who look to get some swing. Emphasis for the team is on rest. Yeah, I say get the rest. You know, guys get treatment, get your treatment, but get your rest, get your day off. I just don't think there's much to like batting practice right now. Like watch tape on Nola, maybe get to the ballpark early Tuesday, but get your body right because I'm exhausted and I'm a fan. Just from traveling to New York, going to the Philly, like I'm tired. I can only imagine guys playing how tired they are. My feet hurt. I wasn't even out on the field. I was standing. So get your rest. I said Mets in 5, so I'll stick with him, but screw it. Mets in 4. Finish them in Queens. We want a clincher. Manaea Tuesday. Quintana maybe Senga Wednesday / Peterson. They got options. It's time. It's our year. We want the NLCS. It's a team of destiny. And that Citi Field crowd is going to carry them to the National League Championship Series. We'll talk to you next time on Mets Magic after these 2 games at Citi Field. Hopefully Thursday. Hopefully Wednesday night. You know, if they clinch, I might try and go live on my phone from the stadium with a bottle of champagne. They better have them hanging around the stadium. Better have some bottles because we'll be popping them. And we must be. Shove Manaea. Shove Quintana. Mets come up with the big hits. Vientos keep hitting. Alonso come home and hit a big homer. You're going to get a big ovation your first at bat. Keep it going. Don't let the ride end there. And let's win this thing in Queens. At the very least, split and give hope for Game 5. Got to get a victory. We'll see you at the ballpark tomorrow night. This is the Sick Pet Podcast, Mets Magic. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio, and we'll talk to you next time, hopefully after 2 wins and a trip to the NLCS on the Sick Podcast, Mets Magic. As always, let's go Mets.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Mets Magic on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.